Most people dream, they wake up, they think about their dream for a second, they go for the fridge, end up at work or school within an hour, and are reading emails and focusing for the majority of the time that they're awake. When you close your eyes, something like 30 million neurons that are normally devoted to seeing your surroundings become available for other experience or qualia. Now, hallucinations are one stimulus that possibly could only exist within a human's world perspective. As in, most things you perceive are out there in a series of fields that interact in a way that give rise to things, structures, and there's a feedback loop between the observer and the outside world, but the observer's experience or qualia is updated every time new information is presented and integrated by that person's consciousness. So literally, the more you experience, the more you can experience. Higher states of consciousness contain visual hallucinations that are non-real, in the sense that they have perfect symmetry, they can float and fold and move without, they are perpetually in motion and can transform in ways that just defy physics. At least the physics of the world in which we live. But here's the thing. We didn't even discover quantum physics until, the 20th century. And that is what determines how things act on a fundamental level. So there are different kinds of physics that describe different kinds of things. So one school of thought is that hallucinations are actually mirrors to the real world. People in phenomenology talk about things like visual symmetry and complexity of the landscape of the visual entity that is being observed by the person, texture and all that. Because when your brain is experiencing symmetry, you produce more symmetrical communications and more harmonic patterns. So, closing your eyes gets rid of all the ambiguity of everyday life. Therefore, the symmetry exists. The unity of color exists with the blackness, and the depth of screen still exists if you can somehow see past it. Your mind is still aware of your surroundings, but if you look deep into your own closed eyes, it creates the illusion of depth, just as it creates the illusion of depth when you look out with your open eyes. When people are more relaxed, their brain chemistry creates more harmonious patterns, which can lead to higher levels of phenomenology. Deep breaths. On the fringe of, fact-based opinion forming, I have this theory that, setting up your mind to function in a way that the universe functions will give you quicker and more direct access to the phenomenology. For example, the universe is expanding. So if you visualize what your mind is and then expand it, the patterns from the double slit experiment, if you visualize an interference pattern with your eyes closed, you're setting up your brain to be in tune with things that naturally happen. When you breathe oxygen in a pattern of 3, 9, and 27, what you're doing is you're setting up a sine wave. In every pulse, you have an energy boost. And every 3 pulses, you have magnificent phenomenology. You have tricked your self, which is the end of the chain of cause and effect between observable world and you in regards to a single instance of something happening. But then the observation of that result leads to more feedback. I don't know if there's a limit to the intensity of the way that these waves can harmonize, but every 3 leads to a big, every big 3 leads to a giant. And it's important to think of the second level of that process as like a pulsing. So in a wave, you have a peak and a trough. In a pulse, you have an on and an off. And when all 3 of those things line up, what you have is something that comes into existence, into the field of perception that contains your capacity to witness things. Whatever would happen when those 3 levels would synchronize would be held up by the wave and the on position of the pulsing. Okay? But different levels have different mathematics and physics that guide them. When you look at the universe from all the way out, it looks like static on a TV. When you zoom in, you get discernible planets and galaxies. From that point, the things that govern beyond that are a set of physics that the middle things don't abide to. Quantum scientists have proved that negative time exists on that scale. So when these 3 things are lining up, what you have is not necessarily bound to the patterns that are individual, because the third level of patterning is not the final result. The final result is all four of those things. You know what I mean? It's self-emergent. It's like a wave with a surfer on top of it, and that surfer is holding a glass of water, and within that water, you know, there's some colors and hyperdescent geometries and symbols that you can see in higher states of consciousness. Brain energy, symmetry, relaxation, oxygen flow. These are the ingredients that push us towards a higher understanding of what's actually going on beyond the physical world. The problem is, it's not beyond the physical world. It is the physical world. We just haven't discovered it yet.